Very good morning, students. Today we are going to learn Unit 1 from Programming and Problem Solving. This subject comprises 30 marks for in-sem and 70 marks for end semester examination. This is the syllabus of Unit 1. So, general problem solving concept till expressions in Python. Now the very first point, that what is problem? We all face problem, and it is a state of difficulty that need to be solved to achieve goal. We all have goals, and in the goal we are having difficulties. So if we resolve the difficulty, definitely we can achieve the goal. So this difficulty or the problem is a state of difficulty. When we solve, definitely we can achieve the goal. Now there are different steps in problem solving. The very first step is identify the problem. Now before solving the problem identification is must. Many people fail to identify the problem, so the problem occurs, it harms the process. Still the user will not identify the problem. This is very dangerous thing in problem solving step. Second is understand the problem. Once the problem is identified, we have to understand the problem. Understanding of problem means what? Which type of problem this is, how serious this problem is, whether this problem can be resolved or not. So this is nothing but the understanding of the problem, why the problem is occurred. Now this problem understanding can be done by using knowledge of a person. Second, we have to find out the subject of the problem. And third is, for problem understanding, we need to communicate with each other. So client and practitioner must communicate with each other to understand the problem in details. Third is identify alternatives, ways to solve the problem. Not to resolve a problem, there may be more than one way to resolve the problem. So we can use the way number 1, way number 2, way number 3 based upon the feasibility of the solution and affordability of an individual. Both the things are studied well, and by comparing the most feasible solution to a user, the ways are identified to solve the problem. The fourth step is select the best way from alternatives to solve the problem. Now see, when different methods are available to solve a problem, we have to select the best way. The most important way, or the way which is giving you the right and correct solution within specified time. Next is list the instructions using selected solution. Here, out of number of alternatives, you are selecting a single way. For that selected way, you are writing now the steps or instructions that you will follow while solving the problem, and finally evaluate the solution. So what are the steps you are writing to resolve any problem? So those steps you have to evaluate on a particular problem, and you have to solve that problem. These are the 6 steps in problem solving. Now next is your types of problem. So there are 2 types of problems. First is the problem based upon algorithmic solution, and second is problem based upon heuristic solution. Now the first point, problem based upon the algorithmic solution. Now you can take one example of making a cup of tea. When you want to make a cup of tea, here first of all you have to power the water, then tea powder, then you have to boil it, then you may power the sugar 2 or 3 spoons based upon your requirement and demand, and finally you can add the milk. You'll stir it, and definitely you'll have the cup of tea. So this is a simple way to make a cup of tea. Now, if anybody follows this way or these steps, definitely he can have his cup of tea. So, an algorithm, that is nothing but the set of instructions when we execute gives the output. So, this set of instructions when you follow, definitely we are getting the output. So, these are the problems which are depend upon set of instructions. If we follow, then definitely they will give the output. Problem based upon this are called as problems based on algorithmic solution. And second, the problem based upon the heuristic solution. When a set of instruction, if we follow, it is not mandatory, or we cannot give 100% assurance that we will get the output. In that case, heuristic solution will get, means what? We'll consider the example of stock market prediction. In stock market prediction, we can't predict the value of a share. What will it will be tomorrow? What it will be tomorrow? So though we are having historical data, we are having news, impressions for today, future prediction of news impression, then also we cannot predict the exact value of the share. So in that case, we have to make so many calculations: historical value, current value, opening value, closing value, average value for a day, for a particular share, and then only we can predict that tomorrow the share value may be this much. So the problem based upon this particular solution are called as problem based upon heuristic solution. Now we have to solve the problems by using computer. Here, solution and result. Solution is nothing but the set of instructions that must be followed to produce a result, and solution and results must be more efficient, faster and understandable. Results here, it may be in the form of printout, it may be in the form of updated file, or it may be output that you can see on the monitor, or even you can listen it through speaker. Now your program, it is a set of instructions written in any computer language. So using this set of instructions, definitely you can solve the problem. Now difficulties in problem solving. The next point is difficulties in the problem solving. Now problem is nothing but the state of difficulty that can be resolved, and if we resolve it, definitely we can achieve the goal. And there are 6 different steps we have seen. Now there are some difficulties with problem solving. The very first difficulty is, the most serious difficulty is we don't understand the problem. See, the problem is occurring, and then also we cannot understand whether the problem is occur or not. So if you fail to understand this situation, it is very harmful. And the most important and difficult step or hurdle in our way is we don't understand the problem. Second is, we can't define the problem in detail to solve it. So though we have identified the problem, if you fail to define the problem, then also it is a difficulty in problem solving. Third is, people fear to take the decision to solve the problem. This is very common issue regarding everybody. If you fear to take the decision, you cannot solve the problem. You may be wrong, you may be right. At least you have to take the decision and you have to go forward. In next step, if you feel that you are wrong, then you can change and you can make your step clear. So this is the next way. And next difficulty is sometimes list of alternative solution is incomplete. So we may have the list of alternatives, but if the list of alternatives is incomplete, so that is also one of the difficulty in problem solving. Next is the sequence of solution is not logical. So here we are giving the sequence of solution for solving the problem. If the solution is not logical, it is illogical, irrelevant, then also it is one of the difficulty in problem solving. And the last one is one cannot write instruction to solve problem. Now see, you may have your sequence of logical instructions, but if you fail to write the instructions that should be followed to solve the problem, then it is also the difficulty in problem solving. Now the next point is general problem solving techniques. Now the very first technique is divide and conquer, and second is dynamic programming. Now divide and conquer method, one problem that is a big module that can be divided into number of sub-modules. Each sub-module is run independently. After running of all sub-modules independently and successfully, we may combine outputs of all to exist a single independent big module that can be run properly. So this is nothing but the divide and conquer method. And second is your dynamic programming. Now dynamic programming method, here we use previous step to solve the problem. Now see, Fibonacci series 1, then again 1, then 2, 1 plus 1 2, 2 plus 1 3, 3 plus 2 5, 5 plus 3 8, 8 plus 5 13, 13 plus 8 21, and many more. So it is nothing but the Fibonacci series. By adding the current number to the previous number, we are getting a list of sequence of numbers that will have some pattern within it. So this is called as dynamic programming. Now here general problem solving strategies are there. Now first is greedy search, backtracking, branch and bound. Now this method are used to avoid more efforts to solve problem. Now top down approach you can see here. So it's a top module. It is divided into submodule 1, submodule 2. Again submodule is divided into submodule 1.1, submodule 1.2. And here submodule 2 is divided into submodule 2.1 and submodule 2.2. So output of submodule 1.1 and submodule 1.2 is given to the submodule 1. Likewise 2.1 and 2.2 is also given to module 2. Then module 1 output and module 2 output will be given to the top module, and finally your output will be generated. Now greedy search and backtracking, branch and bound method, it is very famous method actually. When you have to solve the 8 queen problem, you will find out that when the queen cannot be placed at a particular location, means here we have to place 8 queens in 64 places, so that no other queen should be in the same row, same column and same diagonal of the previous row, a previous queen. So that particular problem can be solved by trial and error method. So that comes under your greedy search, backtracking, branch and bound. So this is all about the basic concepts of programming and problem solving. In the next lecture we'll move for the next point. Thank you very much.